As I was praying about a message for today, I got reminded in my spirit of a phrase. It was a trend actually we used to have in the churches in the late 90s, I believe. And if you're old enough and you have been in church long enough, you will remember this phrase. What would Jesus do? Right? Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it when the Holy Spirit reminded me of that phrase, right? And I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Basically, the whole essence of that phrase was that as Christians, we need to gauge our actions and our words against what we believe in any moment Jesus would have done, right? As we are having interactions with people, am I being as kind as Jesus would have been in the situation? Am I being stern as he would have been in this situation? Am I setting my boundaries as he would have set his boundaries in a similar situation, right? So that was a trend. I mean, we even had wristbands that had that message to keep reminding yourself throughout the day that as you're interacting with people, gauge your actions and your words against this phrase. What would Jesus do had he been in a similar situation as I am right now, right? So as I got reminded of that, I started thinking about, so what does that have to do with the message of peace, right? Because here on this platform, guys, if you're new, we talk about peace, we talk about purpose, right? And God reminded me that Jesus is the Prince of Peace. That's what the Bible tells us as Christians. Jesus is the Prince of Peace. But for a long time, I thought, yeah, he is the Prince of Peace. He needs to be perfect when it comes to peace. I don't even have to strive for perfection when it comes to peace because I'm not the princess of peace, right? Jesus is the master. But then at the same breath, as I was thinking about that, God reminded me again that you know what? Jesus didn't just come on earth to be the Prince of Peace, but he was actually modeling a life for us as Christians that we need now to model. He was just basically showing us how we need to live our lives on earth. So if he could master peace on earth, then it means that's what God expects of us as Christians, right? And I got reminded of Matthew 5 verse 9 that says, you know, blessed are the peacemakers because they will be called the sons of God, right? And for feminists, sons, daughters, one and the same thing, okay? So blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons. So it is when you strive for a peaceful life that you start being called a child of God, because now you are stepping on the footsteps of Jesus. And we've got the Holy Spirit that has the power to help us to step in his shoes, right? So today we're talking about what would Jesus do? I am Pulaa Montz, your inner voice magnified. Guys, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. A special welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining in. And if you find the content worthy for you, valuable, please subscribe, right? And if you have already done so, please get your people and their people to subscribe to my channel. My R's are not coming out today, so forgive me. You know what I mean. And don't forget to click the notification bell because it will let you know every time I upload a new video, right? And the math is simple, guys. If you like the video, like it. If you like it, right? And don't forget to leave your comments because, I mean, really, they give me a perspective that you have about the things that I speak about. And if the message inspires you, please share it on your platform and let it be inspiration to those connected to you. But if it does nothing for you, maybe you heard this message simply because you need to share it for somebody connected to you who might be needing this message, right? So share it anyway, whether it does something for you or not, right? So today we're talking peace in terms of what would Jesus do? You know, I started thinking about, guys, I don't know, this thing, it's, I don't know, maybe it's big, maybe it's, yeah, I guess it's big because I don't have the tools. But I love it. No, bear with me, right? Anyway, I can't believe I just said that or did that even. Anyway, what would Jesus do? I started looking at the life of Jesus and realizing that one of the things that he did to be called the Master of Peace, the Prince of Peace, is that Jesus had what we now call emotional intelligence. Jesus knew when to act. He knew when to speak. He knew when to keep quiet and ignore. He knew when to just pick one person out of a multitude and heal only that person, when he knew he had the power to heal everyone around, right? And he knew when it was time to heal a whole multitude and not leave one single person sick. So he mastered his emotions. He mastered listening to the guidance of the Holy Spirit, right? So that is the one thing that we as Christians need to do in order for us to have a life of peace. I've always shared that, you know what, we can do all these practical things that will help us maintain peace, but what will give us the power to keep going with this life of peace that is not so easy to live in the world that we live in right now. It is the power of the Holy Spirit. It is calling on Jesus. It is adopting the lifestyle of Jesus that will help us maintain a peaceful life in a difficult world that we are living in right now, right? So what would Jesus do should be the question that we all ask ourselves. Before you get angry at somebody else, would Jesus be angry at that person, or would he have compassion for the ignorance of that the person might be showing in that moment? Because sometimes when somebody offends you or says something offensive to you, right, that shows at times how hurt maybe this person is, or how ignorant this person is, right, of the truth of God, that we are supposed to check our words, do unto others as we expect them to do unto us. So if a person intentionally hurts you, it could mean two things, at least in the mindset of Jesus, that this person maybe is ignorant of the fact that they need to treat people right in order to receive right treatment, right? So it is against that test that we used to do it as young people in the church. I mean, if you remember it, please share some of the moments that you remember with regards to that phrase, right? And we completely lost it. But you know, when the Holy Spirit reminded me of it, I started thinking about, you know, when Jesus was casting out demons, and people started saying, no, you can cast out demons because you are the prince of these demons, that's why they listen to you. But in that moment, he didn't get angry. He didn't try to defend his name. He didn't say people are lying. No, I want to set the record straight. He didn't feel the need at that moment to set the record straight when he was really being insulted, being called a prince of demons, right? But he kept his cool. He just kept quiet. Why? I asked God. It's because he recognized the ignorance that these people have of who he is, right? So we need to remember that phrase. I mean, I just thought, you know what? I mean, there is no better message that I can have than the one that God gave me this morning. And he actually reminded me as well. It is a reminder to myself as well, that how often have I let situations decide whether I'm going to have peace or not? How often have I let people decide whether I'm going to have peace or not? Situations I should know from the mindset of Christ that they are brought to me by God. And if God allows something to happen in my life, or if something happens, even if God didn't allow it, but it happened because of the brokenness of this society, God can take all of it and work it for my good, because that's what the Bible promises in Romans 8:28, right? It promises that everything works out for good for those who love God, right? So I should know from a mindset of Christ that it doesn't matter what situation I'm facing. It doesn't matter what people are saying, but what would Jesus do had he been faced with the things that I'm faced with? And that is how we have peace, by looking at the life of Jesus, by studying it, not studying it to master who Jesus was, but studying it to try and implement the things that we learn about Jesus in our own lives. The Holy Spirit is there to help us. And again, we need to be kind to ourselves. When we find ourselves where we are training, maybe you're training yourself to be kind in order to have peace, then at times you will falter, right? You will be kind today, tomorrow you will be mean, or you will be kind this hour, the next hour you will be mean, because that's the nature that you have, right? But when you don't give up on yourself, you keep asking the Holy Spirit to give you more power to actually be kind to others. Eventually, you'll start hearing people saying, you are the most kind person I've ever met, right? Because that's what the power of the Holy Spirit does. But when we seek that power, and we can only seek that, okay, not only, but one of the ways to seek the intervention of the Holy Spirit in any interaction that we have is to ask the question, what would Jesus do? I am Pulaa Montz, your inner peace and purpose coach. And guys, please don't forget to do the right thing. Subscribe to my channel. The R is still not there, so bye.